Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and in today's video what we're going to be doing is this right here. So if that looks exciting to you guys, please carry on and watch the video. Oh, and just one more thing before we go. Please consider like, commenting, and subscribing if you enjoyed the video. But now with all that out of the way, let's carry on with the video. Okay, so starting off this miniature here, we're going to start off with some kobold skin, and as the name implies, we're going to be, of course, painting up the skin. So we want to be painting everywhere we can see the skin, except for the lower half of our Harpy's leg here, where it starts turning into a bird's foot. We want to leave that part out because we're going to be doing that a different color a little bit later on. So just focusing on most of the skin parts, but we are going to keep doing the hands in ordinary skin color as well. It's just going to be the lower half of the leg. Then once we have her skin all painted on, we're going to come in now with some averlund sunset, and this is the part we're going to be using for the lower leg, like I said. So the averlund sunset is going to be a nice yellow color, which is going to really pop out and give that nice eagle slash bird foot and leg appearance. So that's what we want to do here to show it off as much as we can. Then once we've painted up her lower legs, we're going to come in now with some black grey. And for the black grey, we're going to be doing her wings. I'm giving her sort of a raven slash crow appearance rather than sort of an eagle or anything like that. I know we've gone with these sort of eagly feet. She's a mishmash of different types of birds, and that's how I want to paint this Harpy up, so you can get a bunch of different styles if you want, and trying to make it look sort of menacing at the same time, and the black wings are going to help with that. So giving them a nice, good overall coverage, and don't forget, of course, the tail feathers as well. Then with all her wings painted up, we're going to come in now with some cavalry brown. And the cavalry brown we're going to be using to be painting up our Harpy's hair. Give her a nice reddish brown hair colour. It's going to really help with the contrast of all the colours we've got on here, since we're keeping it so far in the very neutral and natural colours. This reddish brown is going to really help give a bit of pop and a bit of eye-catching colour to the piece. Then once we've painted up her hair, we're going to come in with some nocturna shadow, and we're going to be using this for the main part of her clothing that she is wearing. Nice very dark green, and we're keeping that sort of neutral colour theme here, and we've got those bits of interest with her hair and her legs, so we've got a few different places to look all over the piece. But again, just being careful to only get the places where we want that nocturna colour to be, which is just on the clothing. So if you have to switch to a smaller brush, don't be afraid to do that. And then once we've painted up her main part of clothing, we're going to be painting up just another piece of clothing she has on here, and we're going to use some mahogany brown to do this. She has sort of like a belt on her slash apron with a little bit of a design on it, so we want to be painting that up in the brown to help come up with that natural theme that we're sort of going for with our Harpy here. So just being careful, switch to a smaller brush if you need to. There's very fine strips of brown that we're painting along here as well. Then once we have that apron painted up, we're going to come in now with some weapon bronze, and we're going to be using that to paint up these little metal rings, or at least they're part of the design of this apron here. I'm going to be sort of painting them up as sort of metal rings on here to give her sort of a bit more fancier sort of look, and look like she's cobbled together some armor from things she has and people she has slain in the past to give her that little bit of ornamentation. And then with that done, we're going to come in now with some deep blue. And what we're going to be doing with the deep blue is we're going to be doing a dry brush, and we're going to be doing a dry brush just over her wings. And I'm going to be doing it a pretty heavy and sporadic dry brush, so we get a lot of that blue color into the wings. And I know it's going to look a little bit weird that she's going to end up with sort of blue wings by the end of it, but as we go into later steps, it's going to slowly settle it down and give it a nice different effect when you're looking at it on the piece itself once it's all complete. So don't be afraid to go a little bit heavy with this dry brush and really get all over the wings, but just be careful not to get it over anything we don't want it to be. Then once we've gotten those wings all nice and blue, we're going to come in now with just some straight black, and all we're going to be doing with the black is we're going to be painting up her claws and her talons. So just being careful, coming in with a nice small fine tip brush so you can really pick out all those claws and talons all over the model, making sure that you don't miss any. She has quite a lot of them over the piece. And then once I've done that, we have all our base coats complete. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come in with some nuln oil. And what we're going to be doing with the nuln oil is we're going to be giving a nice heavy wash all over the wings. And this is why we've blued up the wings quite a lot, because this nuln oil is going to come down and really darken them down and make them merge together a lot more seamlessly, and it's going to be a lot more of a subtle effect and hopefully give off that effect that I'm really trying to get. I've never done this before, so you have to bear with me while doing this, but I hope it comes out the way we want it and give that subtle blue shift in the piece, so you can see that the wings are clearly black with little blue highlights. And then with all that nuln oil all dried up, we're going to come in now with some flesh wash, and of course all we're going to be doing is painting over all of the flesh and the skin tone that we can see here with a nice good layer, but being very careful that it doesn't pull up in the areas where we don't want it to. And just remember, when it's pulling up, just come back in with nothing on your brush and you immediately come in and soak it up, or even just push it around a little bit further into those areas where you do want that wash. Will also help distribute the wash all over the place. And of course you can see I'm going over the claws here as well to help blend in that skin color and those claws on her feet as well. Then once all that flesh wash is dried up, we're going to come in now with some agrax earthshade. And we're just going to be applying the agrax earthshade everywhere we didn't apply that flesh wash or our nuln oil. So basically just over the clothes and a little bit over the hair as well to help enhance the brown of that cavalry brown as well, so it's not completely more of a reddish tone with all these colors we've got on here. It's going to be a little bit more on the brown spectrum, but totally up to you what you want to do here with that hair to make it either more red, add in the flesh wash, or more brown, add in the agrax earthshade. Okay, now we're going to do just a little bit of fine detail work here, and all I'm going to do is come in with the ivory and get it on the very tip of my brush, a very fine pointed brush, and I'm just going to be brushing it over the area where her teeth are showing, because she's giving this sort of menacing snarl with her teeth showing, so we want to just pick that out so we can really see that whole expression on the face. Then once we've picked out her teeth, we're going to come in now with some kobold skin again, and all we're going to be doing is highlighting up the areas where the sun would naturally hit, and more pronounce those areas, of course, with the highlight. So as you can see, I've got quite a fine tip and a small brush here, since she is only a small model, so we want to make sure we get it just in the places we want. And remember, my paint is also thinned down a little bit more than usual here as well, so it's a little bit more subtle of a highlight once it dries as well. And then of course we're going to come back in with our averlund sunset so we can highlight up her feet that she has here, and you can see that I'm going to be doing some small quick strokes just along. She has, you know, those little bits of scales that birds have on their feet as well, so I'm going acrosswards, sort of trying to pick them out a little bit more on there by going the opposite way, and hopefully giving highlights to those little points that are sculpted onto the miniature. Then once we've completed that, what we're going to be doing is coming in with some angel green to highlight up her clothing that she is wearing here, and of course again we just want to be hitting it onto the edges and the highest points of the miniature where the sun would come in and naturally hit. So she's got a bit of wave in the bottom of her clothing, and of course onto her chest as well here, sticking out in the sun. And this angel green is just a little bit lighter than that nocturna shadow we have on here, so it's going to help highlight it up a little bit more into the sort of light coming in from the sun angles that we want to be hitting all over the miniature. So switch to a smaller brush if you need to get into all the little places and the little folds on the clothing. And with all that out of the way, we've now finally finished painting up our Harpy from the Dungeons & Dragons WizKids range. And you can see just by having a few colours on there, we can make quite an effective miniature. And I think that nice blue effect that we've got shimmering on the wings has come out great, and it's going to help add a little bit of visual interest to the piece. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys, whether you want to follow along or you just enjoy me painting up some cool miniatures. But with all that out of the way, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.